Welcome to the On Your Side podcast. I am Susan Campbell, and I am joined by April Warnicki. Thank you so much for pinch hitting for us, guest hosting.
My pleasure.
It's kind of fun to have you on the On Your Side podcast.
Yeah, I was told there would be no math, though, so you're not going to make me.
Oh,
right?
Here's the thing. This whole thing is about saving, spending, over. Yeah, there might be some math.
All right, I'm prepared.
Okay. So the reason I actually asked you to be the guest host on this is because you are our meteorologist extraordinaire. But I also know that you really do secretly kind of love finance.
Yeah.
Every so often you'll share interesting articles with me and kind of different strategies with finance. So I know you love it.
Well, I don't know if I love it, but I do like to do occasionally like a deep dive into different things. And budgeting is kind of my jam also. I think in general planning is my jam.
Yeah.
And so I like to have a plan for everything, and that includes money.
So we're going to do that. Your holiday planning is maybe a little bit more expensive than my holiday planning because your kids are a little bit older. So I can still get away with, a $6 Barbie doll or a $10 remote control.
Yeah.
You're out of that phase.
Wait until they start asking for a computer or, the latest headphones. It all just gets more expensive. It's hard.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Do they have a list yet this season?
Well, my oldest is 15 and 9 months. So 15 years and 9 months. So he is all about just give me cash. He's trying to save for a car. Yeah.
Ooh.
So he does not want anything. He's made that very clear. He just wants cash.
Okay.
So that actually makes it easier.
I hope Santa gets that message for him. That's kind of a terrifying, totally different podcast.
Because I'm also going to need that cash to pay for the insurance bill that's about to, from what I hear, skyrocket, maybe triple.
Yeah.
So,
goodness.
That's the budget I haven't worked out yet, is how that's about to change for our family. But my youngest is 13, and he is very much into technology.
Okay.
So, those are much pricier gifts than what I used to buy at Toys R Us.
I know. Oh, Toys R Us. Yeah. Remember when that was a
throwback?
thing?
Yeah.
So when we were talking about all these different kind of spending days, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Today is Cyber Monday. When we're going to be dropping this podcast, it's going to be Cyber Monday. Mm-hmm. Do you have any plans to hit up those sales?
Well, I already have.
Okay.
Yes, because they started early this year. But it's so hard because you don't know, is that deal going to drop more? So there are a lot of stores that have put things at maybe a 30% discount, but you wonder, based on last year, is that going to drop to a 40%? Yeah. Is it going to drop to a 50%? I mean, at what point do you just say, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and buy it? I mean, if it's a difference of $10, it's not going to matter as much. But if it's a big ticket item, that's really hard.
It is. And you don't want to feel like you're wasting money. And then you want to make sure you can get the price match. But then that's all accounting. Ugh. And we also don't want to overspend because we can see all these sales and be like, ooh, that sounds fun. I kind of like that. Or you forget that you already bought something and then you overbuy. We want to bring in Rachel Caballero. She is a financial expert with TruWest Credit Union. You have some really interesting tips to help kind of avoid the holiday overspending, especially on a day like Cyber Monday, or even as we get closer to the holidays and the discounts continue to creep up. Help us save money. Help us plan, Rachel.
I'll try. One thing that you should know is that before the discounts start coming, they do start hiking the prices up to make the discounts seem bigger.
I've wondered about that.
So you need to start before Black Friday and before Cyber Monday for sure.
So when we are kind of looking at all of these sales or looking at our budget and trying to match, maximize what we have set aside. I mean, I know there are a lot of people who do have different ways to save up for the holiday. For me and my husband, we started early, $50 a paycheck went into a separate sinking fund in the savings account. So by the time we get to Christmas, we have a certain amount of money and that's what we're spending on gifts. And that's where it stops.
Yeah.
But how do we make sure that we're not, overspending or not contributing enough to that sinking fund? Or, how do we get to the point where we are hitting Christmas Day and the budget's the budget, we haven't gone in debt for it?
Well, that's a good question. And you and your husband are on the right track. I like to call it a Christmas club account rather than a sinking fund.
Okay, I like that.
But yeah, preparing ahead and putting money into savings throughout the year so that at the holiday time, you're just using that savings. And then creating a micro budget. So like you said, that's all we're spending on the holidays. Creating a micro budget and seeing, okay, this is the amount of people that I need to spend for. And then you divide the amount that you're going to spend by that number, and you give each person their own spending amount, right? And so then when you go out and you start shopping, you can't go above that spending amount, or you're going to have to take away some from somebody else, which kind of helps you stay on track because you don't want to shortchange somebody, right?
That does put it in perspective. The one thing that always kind of sneaks up on me, and I don't know if it does for you too, but it's all of the extra gifts. Like for my kids, I know the budget for them. Yeah. And for my husband, we've decided, we're not really spending money on each other. We're going to kind of do little stuff. But it's the teacher gifts. You want to show, we love our teachers. Yes. My kids' teachers are phenomenal people. Yeah. And my goodness, I wish we could shower them with all the gifts in the world. But they each have a couple teachers.
And then you remember, it's the barber. You're supposed to tip the barber this time of year. And you're supposed to tip the, maybe a lawn guy. Or I forget about all of those,
It all kind of adds up. And that's the one that catches me off guard. Every single December, no questions asked. Help us get through that mess.
Yes, it can be a mess. So I think also when you're creating a micro budget, you have to include things like that. So you're going to include all the little events that are popping up. Your kids have a play and they have to dress like this. So you're going to need a new outfit. The gifts for the teachers. But then you also have the little parties in class that now I need to buy 4 of the big boxes of goldfish crackers. And we have a party at my friend's house and she wants to theme it. So now I've got to buy an outfit for that. So all of this stuff needs to go into that budget. And so you're going to categorize it out and then set that amount for each category. I was going to say, and honestly, people like gifts that take a little bit more thought. So you don't necessarily have to tip the lawn guy, right? You can make him a tray of brownies and dress it up really nicely and give it to him. And it's something a little bit more thoughtful, something that you put effort into. So people are going to like that a little bit more. It's not all about money. And then also, we've been doing kids only Christmas for the last few years. So we only buy gifts for the children that are in our family or our friends' children. Yeah. And I always get with them ahead of time and say, hey, should we buy gifts this year? Because a lot of times it's not just you trying to save money, it's everybody else too. And so if you just open up and talk to them about it, they might want to save that money too and say, nope, let's just do no gifts all the way around.
That's a conversation we had with all of our siblings, Steve's siblings and my brother a couple years ago. We were like, this is probably time to just transition to spoiling our nieces and nephews and have a lot of fun with those gifts versus worrying about what does my brother need, right? Yeah. Like my brother's gonna, if he needs something,
he doesn't need anything. Yeah. No, I need to have that conversation with my extended family.
Do you still buy for all the grown-ups too?
We do on one side of the family and on the other we don't.
That's stressful.
Those are the gifts that stress me out the most because as you pointed out, most adults that they would just have bought it for themselves if they really needed something. So you're trying to be thoughtful, and it's just those are the things that really stress me out. Not the kids' gifts. I know what they want.
Yeah, you can handle that. Yeah. You had an interesting tip that I love. I want you to walk us through this. It is do the cost per use test. What does that actually mean? How do we make that happen?
So essentially what that means is you're going to value out how much per use that item costs. So a couple months ago, it was a big thing like those vibrating boards that help your lymphatic system, right? But a lot of people that get them use them maybe 1 or 2 times, and then they don't use it anymore. So the cost per use on that one is going to be a lot higher than, say, maybe a walking treadmill that you'll use every day while you're working. So the cost per use is going to be really low because you're using it really frequently.
Interesting. That makes me think of all the Pelotons that I see on the Google groups or the Facebook marketplace.
Right.
Like, barely used Peloton for sale.
Yeah, mine would. I don't have one, but if I did, it would have the cost per use would have been extraordinary.
That's funny.
You also talk a little bit about just turning off notifications. It's going to help you avoid overspending if you're just not being bombarded. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so it's a huge thing right now, social media sales. So you're scrolling social media or you're scrolling, even looking at Google or LinkedIn, and they're constantly putting ads in your face to buy stuff. And really, really easily, you click on that 3 dots and you say, remove this ad or remove all of this person's ad or all of this company's ad. A lot of times it's stuff that you don't need, and they'll start putting timers and countdowns on it saying, hey, store going out of business in 5 days. 37 minutes and whatever. So they put the countdown. So it makes you feel like you have to buy this because it's not going to be available, but it probably wasn't on your list anyway. And so that actually leads to overspending a lot more than it does savings.
That urgency is it's a very real emotion that kind of gets you amped up. I've noticed actually this season in particular, there are certain places that will put the inventory count on items. And I have no idea if it's a real inventory
that would be
count.
my question. Is it true?
Who knows? I mean, you hope so because there's supposed to be truth in advertising, but it also does kind of like get your heart rate going like, ooh, am I going to want this? Is this going to be one of the things that I need?
And I've heard you say if there is a hot item that you are needing to get for, your kid or whoever it is for, don't wait because it might sell out. So again, it's that urgency that we're even telling ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't want to have your heart set on something,
and then you can't find it.
Then you can't find it. Now you're in a totally different.
That's been the plot of many Christmas movies, I think.
Yeah. Hallmark, here we come. Rachel, can we talk about buy now, pay later? I feel like that's the other thing that I see absolutely everywhere. All these websites, all these stores, retailers have options where I can spread out my spending and all of a sudden I'm spending 4 payments instead of 1 to just buy the thing I need. How common is buy now, pay later becoming? Like, are people actually using this option and what do we need to know about it?
Well, buy now, pay later I'm not a fan. So yes, people are using it and that is increasing, especially now with inflation continuing. People are starting to use it for things like everyday spending, like groceries. And that's actually increasing, which is really sad. But technically it's layaway. We used to call it layaway, right? Where you can make small monthly payments, often at no interest or low interest throughout the year, and you can spend whatever amount you need for Christmas. The problem is that people don't realize that this is a debt the same way a credit card is a debt. And a lot of times there are more stipulations and more fees tied to this. Now, about 25% of adults have used buy now, pay later. Unfortunately, at least half of those people have missed payments. And so once that payment is missed, they can sell it to a collections agency and it'll get you just like a regular loan would.
And now you're in collections for something that might have, these are micro loans in some cases. They might be, a $13 payment and now you're in collections over it.
Well, I'm sure these companies wouldn't do it if there wasn't something in it for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And all of these, like if there is a late payment, the fees and the penalties, they could be wide ranging, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of people that do get caught in the trap the same way they would with a credit card. And unfortunately, buy now, pay later appeals to those who have lower credit scores that wouldn't normally qualify for a credit card. So this is kind of like the last option that they have to be able to make this big purchase with small payments. But the problem is that if you can't afford to pay for it now, how do you know you're going to be able to make those payments going forward? So it really does get people in a trap where they're starting to spend more than they normally would because they're given this option that is, little to no cost, but then they get caught up in not making the payments. And now here's surprise, here's the fine print, and you're starting the year out with debt and building interest on top of all of that and fees on top of all of that. So it really gets people kind of stuck in a ditch.
So let's say we are already into the shopping part of the season. Say we've accidentally already done a little overspending. Are there ways to get back on track right now before we hit, the really kind of last minute rush?
Yeah. So a lot of that overspending might have come from impulse purchases or from the fact that you did not do a micro budget. You didn't write it down. You didn't set an actual number. So one of the things that you can do is look at the purchases you've already made and see if they're on the list of things you wanted to buy. And if not, you can simply return them. And then also sitting down and saying, oop, I've already spent this much money. Now I need to rein it in for everybody else and start thinking of other options besides just buying gifts, right? So maybe making a really nice frame and putting a family picture in it and giving something like that rather than buying a big gift.
Are we missing anything else? Help us make sure that budget is as fine-tuned as possible before we let you off the hook here.
I would just say it's better to ask people what they actually want than to assume that you know. Because a lot of times you're spending on money on things that people probably didn't want, or something they already have, or a scent that they don't like, right? So make sure that you ask people, hey, what would you like to get for Christmas? Because sometimes it could be somebody struggling and they would just want a $50 grocery gift card. They don't need presents. So I think that helps keep you right in line with your budget as well.
Rachel, Rachel, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. If people want to find out more about TruWest, where can they go?
TruWest.org. And we also have 8 Valley locations.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time. Happy holidays. I hope that you have maybe a little fun spending in the budget.
I always do my fun spending early on. Yes. Happy holidays, guys. Thank you for having me.
She sounds like she knows how to make good choices, as we always say.
I think so.
I've not made good choices shopping so far, but let me tell you why.
Okay.
I feel like because the whole world is on sale right now, I'm buying all of these things that I say need, but like our coffee maker broke about a month ago, and I've been waiting for
you need a coffee
good
maker.
coffee maker to go on sale. And so I was watching the prices, and then I just bought a good coffee maker.
Good.
But like my son needs, I know, but my son has needed a new comforter, and there's one that I've had my eye on, but I knew it was going to go on sale. And I can name you about 5 to 6 other things that I've been waiting for to go on sale. So even though I might be sticking to that holiday budget, I think the extra spending this time of year, there's a lot of temptation because some of the things you might have wanted to purchase anyways, and it just seems like this is the smartest time, but it's all just going to pile up in January.
Like all of the household goods you're talking about. Like, this stuff is super useful for me. I'm not going to wrap it up. We need it right now.
We also need some new towels, but this would be the good time to buy them. But if I continue down this path.
No, I know. I'm with you.
Be tough.
I did the same thing the other day with a couple just sweatshirts. My kid is getting a little bit bigger, and it was great Black Friday, early Black Friday sales. And I was like, well, I might as well buy them now. This is not part of the gift budget. He's just going to wear it to school tomorrow.
Yeah.
But so I can commiserate with that.
There are a lot of companies that, things only go on sale once or twice a year, and this is one of those times. So it is really tempting to overspend, even when you're not even talking about that being on someone's Christmas list.
I have to tell you, she brought up a really funny story when she said, ask people what they want. My son has been trying to figure out, he's 7, has been trying to figure out what to get his little sister, his 4-year-old sister for Christmas. And he told me, he was like, I'm going to just ask her, but I'm going to be really sneaky about it. She's not going to know. So last night they're getting ready for bed, and he's like, hey, Campbell, if you could choose between a Glinda costume with a wand or an Elphaba costume with the broom, what would you choose?
Ooh, what did she choose?
and she came up with something else. That's not at all what she wants.
Oh, is she onto him?
And he was like, and you're not getting this. I'm just asking. I was like, gosh, you're so sly, kiddo.
But he sounds like he's being very thoughtful.
He is. He did find his baby sister's gift already, which I was very excited about because that was a $6 little plush.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm on board with this budget.
Yeah. But the important thing is he's thinking about others. He's not just saying, here's my list, Mom. He's saying, like, what can I get for other people? So,
aw, thanks. You just
great.
made me feel good. April, thank you so much for
my pleasure.
joining me. This was so much fun.
I didn't have to do any math, even though I brought my pen and
I
paper
know.
here.
Well, do you want to do 2 plus 2 right now?
I can do that. This was fun.
The On Your Side podcast is produced by Brad Denny. Our audio engineer and editor is Todd Martin. Segment producer is Colin Stanton. And I'm Susan Campbell. If you have a problem you can't resolve, maybe we can. Send us a message through azfamily.com or our AZ Family mobile news app. Look for the On Your Side section and leave us a message. Thanks so much for listening to the On Your Side podcast. And if you like it, leave us a review. We'll see you next week.
On Your Side is on Good Morning Arizona every weekday morning at 6:45 and 7 o'clock, and every weekday evening on Good Evening Arizona at 4 and 5 o'clock. You can also catch it on Arizona's Family News at 9 on 3TV every weeknight.